Hey, what's up? How's it going? So, those of you may remember I made a video on how to make night vision goggles like, I don't know, like 100 years ago or something like that. And in this video, we're going to be making some better night vision goggles with some better cameras, some possibly worse displays, and it's going to be pretty cool. So, stay tuned for that, and I'll let past me take it away, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to end this in this intro. So my first version of this used a no IR Pi cam, which is fine inside, and pretty much only inside. If you go outside, pretty much doesn't work at all. You can't really see anything. So I was looking into that. In fact, I removed the IR filter from a normal FPV camera, and guess what? The image was nearly identical to that of the no IR Pi cam, leaving me to conclude the no IR Pi cam is nothing but a normal camera without an IR filter. I know, shocking. So if we can't use the Raspberry Pi camera, then we need something else. Something that's small, lightweight, easy to interface with. Where do we find something like that, though?
I wonder if there are any night vision FPV cameras. No, flying at night is illegal. That'd mean people are breaking the law. People wouldn't do that.
Turns out people do break the law, and there are night vision FPV cameras. We got three notable candidates: the Runcam Night Eagle 3 V2, Caddx Ratel Pro, and Foxeer Cat 3 IR, all with light sensitivity far surpassing that of the Pi cam, with the Caddx and Foxeer slightly outperforming the Runcam in light sensitivity. Now you may be wondering, what camera did I end up going with? And that is a good question. I actually ended up going with the cheapest camera that I could possibly get on Amazon. Yeah, so I actually didn't use any of these cameras, even though there's this whole animation around them. Partly because they're kind of expensive, and partly because I saw a security camera and I'm like, hey, that has pretty decent night vision and that's pretty cheap. So yeah, I just kind of went with that. The problem is, this camera is analog. You can't just plug this thing into the Raspberry Pi and have it work. So we need a conversion board to convert the analog signal from the FPV camera to a digital signal for the Raspberry Pi, and because we're not using the Pi library or the Pi camera libraries anymore, we need to figure out some other way to interface with this camera and to program it. Come on guys, I expected more from you. What you should be asking right now is, why are we still using a Raspberry Pi? This camera's analog. You could have plugged this into any TV in the early 2000s and got a video right away. So why don't we just do that?
Because they don't make those TVs anymore, and didn't they also weigh like 400 pounds?
This is why nobody likes you, Kevin. It's 2025, people. You think composite video technology stopped at box TVs?
Behold, a 2025 box TV.
You can get these off AliExpress for like 20 bucks. Yeah, so you remember earlier when I was saying possibly worse displays? So CRT TVs weren't particularly known for like amazing resolution, and these displays, even though they're LCD displays, they're still pretty not great resolution. I think it's like 240 by 320 or something like that, and we're going to be putting these displays like as close to our face as possible to take up as much of our field of view as possible. So you're going to you're going to see the pixels. You're going to almost be able to count the pixels in the display. Now, there are smaller displays that are much higher resolution. They're called FLCOS displays. The problem with those is that they don't take up a whole lot of your field of view. Like it's a 1080p, but it's like small. I was thinking it would be kind of disorienting if you took your whole field of view and then just crunched it down to like a little square in front of you. So that's partly why I went with these. Also, those FLCOS displays are kind of expensive. Yeah, but now that we have a display that can accept analog video, we can go directly from supplier to customer, completely eliminating the middleman, which means we don't have to do any programming, we don't have to flash an SD card, we don't have to wait for it to boot, we don't have to do anything regarding a Raspberry Pi. See, I was wondering, how do FPV flight controllers display text onto the video feed? Turns out they have a dedicated IC just for that purpose. Now we could get one of those ICs, print out the data sheet for it, put it on a breakout board, hook that board up to our Arduino, try and program it and all that jazz. But why do that when we have FPV flight controllers? We can just connect the camera straight to the flight controller and have the flight controller output to the display instead of the VTX.
So we're just replacing the Raspberry Pi then?
Well, yeah, but we don't have to wait nearly as long for this to boot. Plus, a beta flight allows you to easily move things around, so we don't have to reprogram it 17 times just to get one word kinda in place. And you can get flight controllers that have a way smaller form factor than a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, so it turns out some cameras actually have an OSD kind of like built into them. So you may not need the flight controller depending on like what camera you go with. I didn't go with one of those cameras, so I'm going to use the flight controller. And now that we have the flight controller and the camera and the display, all we got to do now is connect the camera to the 5-volt grounded camera pins on the flight controller, connect the display to 5-volt grounded VTX on the flight controller, connect a battery, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done.
Except no, we're not. Even with a new night vision camera, this is still a Gen 1 night vision, which means we need some form of infrared illumination. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially the camera is more sensitive to 850 nanometer infrared and less sensitive to 980 nanometer infrared. Okay, so we'll just get some 850 nanometer LEDs.
Yeah, if you want to be seen, 850 nanometer LEDs often spill over slightly into the visible range, meaning squishy human eyes can usually pick up a dim red glow.
Which is why you'd want to use both. 850 nanometer for when you want to flood the area with light, and 950 when you want to be all like stealthy and not be seen and everything. Now, either way, someone could just pull out their phone and be like, oh yeah, there you are, because phones can pick up infrared light, but we're relying on people not knowing that information. So, went ahead and made all this stuff in CAD, printed it out, and here it is.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you better.
So it may look cool, but how well does it work? That's the real question. I am here reporting live in middle of pretty much a field. I got a tree line behind me, so we can kind of get an idea of the distance. The goggles, you can switch between, these are the 950, these are the 850.
Spend the rest of this clip kind of just rambling and wandering around in the dark. Here's what it looks like through the goggles. You can see the difference between the 940 nanometer and the 850 nanometer. The range is about 50 feet with the 940 and about 100 to 150 feet with the 850. Also, this camera really doesn't do a good job showing how bright these IR lights actually are. So here I am in front of a ring camera. You can see the 850 LEDs light up the tree across the road. Which, side note, if anyone knows what camera Ring uses, let me know. It's prime night vision goggle material.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching. This video took a decent amount of time to make with all the animations and everything, but let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, do the other, whatever YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.